is I'm going to read to you a statement I have to read to all cases. After I read that case, or after I read that statement, I'm going to hand the case over to Miss Madeira, who's going to go ahead and get the party sworn in. Then we'll get started with the hearing. The person leading the hearing today is Commissioner Baez. Good morning and welcome to the Philadelphia Fair Housing Commission. My name is Ali D. Medeiros. I'm the attorney for the Fair Housing Commissioners. You'll also see on the screen Brenda Madeira. She's your case manager. Additionally, you'll see the name Michael Fontaine. He runs our Zoom hearings for us. Before we get started today, there's a couple of things I'm required to go over with you. First, you're being recorded. We record all our hearings. By remaining on the line and participating in the hearing, you are consenting to be recorded. Our Zoom hearings have the same force and effect as if we were in person. The only difference is on Zoom, we do not have a court reporter. In the event either party wants to appeal a final order of this commission, you can reach out to me or the case manager and we'll provide you with a copy of the video recording. Please be mindful of what you're saying and doing because it is being recorded. Second, at 9 o'clock this morning, the commissioners and myself, the attorney, met in a private executive session to discuss today's cases. We do this on every hearing day with every case. Third, the parties had the opportunity to submit documents. I have the submitted documents saved on my computer and can share them with everyone on the screen. Please keep in mind that the commission generally only reviews the very basic documents in a case prior to a hearing. If you have something you would like to be reviewed by the commission, please reference it by name, date, or description. I'll put it on the screen for everyone to look at the same time. Lastly, during the course of today's hearing, it might be necessary for the commissioners to speak privately to make decisions in this matter. If they need to do that, they're going to invite you to join separate rooms divided by party called breakout rooms. A prompt will come on your screen at the appropriate moment asking you if you would like to join a breakout room. We will direct you to click join when you see that prompt. Once in the breakout room, please remain in the room. We will never end a hearing when you are in a separate room. Please make sure you're back in this main room and that a commissioner or staff member dismisses you before you log off or hang up. Thank you very much for listening. With that, I am going to hand the case over to Miss Madeira. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm sorry to cut you off. The only issue is I have no video. I only have audio.
That's okay. So you're not going to be able to see stuff on the screen. Things should have been provided to you beforehand. If there is a document that needs to be provided to you, we'll go ahead and either email it to you or mail it to you. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Fair Housing Commission. This is the case of Marjan Polk versus Nathaniel Page. This is our first hearing. This is docket number 2024-11-12-19134. I will ask, beginning with the tenant, would you please state your name and spell it clearly for the recording?
Marjan Polk.
Can you spell it, please?
MARSHONNE, Polk, POLK.
Thank you. Landlord, would you please state your name clearly and spell it for the recording?
Nathaniel Page, NATHANIEL, last name PAGA.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to swear you both in. Do you swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
I do.
Thank you. During the hearing, you will have an opportunity to testify. Documentations have already been submitted to the commission, so we would ask you that while testifying, if you are referring to a set document that you already submitted, please make mention of the title of said document, or if using a date, use the complete date, which would be the month, the day, and the year of that document. We would ask you not to use pronouns. Please make sure you mention the complete name of the person you are referring to in your testimony. We will ask you not to interrupt each other nor disrespect each other. We will definitely ask you not to interrupt nor disrespect the commissioners as they proceed over this matter. At the end of the hearing, you will receive an order. You have the right to appeal the final order at the Court of Common Pleas. If you choose to do so, you'll need a copy of this recording that will be transcribed for that purpose. This case is not scheduled in municipal court as of this morning. Again, my name is Brenda Madeira, and the commission is presiding over this matter today is Commissioner Bronson, Commissioner Baez, and Commissioner Butler. Thank you.
Hi, good morning and welcome to the Fair Housing Commission. Today, we're going to be having a hearing. The tenant is going to present her evidence, and then the landlord will have an opportunity to respond. Ms. Polk, You filed this complaint on November 24th, 2024. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, could you please state the property address that we're here to discuss?
314 North 61st Street, Philadelphia, PA 19139.
And are you still residing at the property?
No, I am not.
When was the last day that you resided at the property?
That was the day before Thanksgiving, which would be, I guess, November 24th, 20, something like that.
November 24th of 2024?
Yes, we were locked out of the property, me and the other tenants, because the door was completely boarded up.
Okay, we'll get into that a little bit further. When did you first move into the property?
I moved into the property September 10th of 2020.
Okay, and what was the monthly rent?
The monthly rent was, well, it was actually weekly. It started out weekly, which was $190 a week, and then it turned into $420 every 2 weeks.
So how much did you pay per month?
So that would be $840 per month.
$840 per month.
Yeah.
And when was the last time that you paid rent to the landlord?
And the last time I paid rent to the landlord was October. I believe it's October. No, I have a paper to tell you exact date. I'm sorry. I believe it's October 15th or 14th.
And what was the amount?
The last amount was, I believe, $1,100, $1,140.
Okay, when you first moved into the property, did you receive a certificate of rent or suitability?
No, I did not.
Did you receive a let's safe certificate?
No, I did not.
At any time during your tenancy, did you receive either of those documents?
No.
You filed this complaint with the Fair Housing Commission alleging that you were locked out of the property. Specifically, you're stating that your landlord engaged in self-help eviction.
A month prior to that, all utilities were cut off illegally. First it was the electricity, and then it was the water.
Okay, before we get into the heart of that, what exactly is it that you're seeking? Are you looking to return back to the property and regain your tenancy?
No, the property is inhabitable, and the property was deemed inhabitable for some time. And I had to do my own search in order to get out that he did not obtain a renter's license or anything of the sort, and he
Okay,
also
so when you moved into the property, did you pay a security deposit?
Yes, I paid a small security deposit,
What was the amount that you paid in security?
$800.
Okay, did you pay last month's rent?
The $800 was just supposed to cover, that was the security.
Okay,
So,
so I just would like to understand exactly how much money did you provide the landlord upfront when you moved in? So did you pay the
Upfront, I
landlord just a security deposit?
yes, the $800 was considered a security deposit, yes.
Okay, you did not pay ahead of time last month's rent.
No,
Okay. Has the landlord returned any portion of the $800 that you paid in security?
no,
Have you requested that money from your landlord since vacating the property?
no, because the landlord has changed his number.
Okay. And what is it that you're seeking from Fair Housing today?
I actually would just like to receive my money back. I just feel as though just the conditions of the way that everything was handled was unprofessional. I do have like health issues, I was unable to check my pulse and heart rate daily,
Okay,
like,
so Ms. Falk, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you rudely, but the commission will only deal with very specific issues. So if you do tend to go off into areas that we would not be able to address, I will politely ask you to, I will redirect you. So I would like to know at this time, um, can you please explain what was the action that your landlord take that you consider to be self-help eviction?
um, first, and I went and got a police report the first time. And then the second time was when the door was boarded up.
Okay, can you explain that situation? When did it happen?
I can pull out the exact. Give me a moment. Okay, that was 21. The date for this one, docket number 24-19-079392, date and time of report 11/29/24, location of occurrence 314 North 61st Street, nature of report landlord/tenant dispute, P.O. Connerly, badge number 1757. That was the second one.
Okay, so Ms.
The
Book,
first one.
so you're explaining to the commission that you filed a police report because your landlord did what exactly?
Locked me out of the property.
And by that, what do you mean?
Boarded, that was it. When the property was boarded up,
Where, how,
so they
explain,
didn't, well, they came out, the police officers came out, but no one was of the property due to it being cold outside. So I was told to return to the police station that was close by, which is in distance,
So-
and I got the police report the day after this said incident.
okay, so let's just start a little bit slower. What was the date again?
For this one, that was 11/29/24.
Okay, and when you said it was boarded up, explain what you are describing.
I am describing to you a piece of plywood nailed to the entrance of the property. So no one has any access. All windows were boarded up to the first floor, but they were boarded up prior to the initial lockout.
Okay, so you're saying that no tenant in the building was able to enter the building,
Correct.
including yourself?
Correct.
And then what was the other instance of self-help eviction that you allege in your complaint?
When the utilities were cut off.
When was that? The date?
Okay, let me give you a quick. October, no, that was November 23rd.
Okay, and when, could you explain exactly which utilities were turned off?
That was October 23rd, I'm sorry. October 23rd, the utilities were cut off.
Which utilities were cut off?
Yes.
I'm sorry, which ones were cut off?
The electricity was first, and then a few days later, it was the water.
And what is your understanding of how that occurred?
I went to work, and I returned home, and I tried to get in to like using my keys to get upstairs. And the hallway light is normally on and it wasn't on. So I just, went into my apartment because I'm on the third floor. And I went to use my actual light switch to my stairway and they didn't come on. And that's when I realized that the power to the entire building was cut off.
Did you communicate with the landlord regarding what you were experiencing at the time?
The landlord deliberately cut it off.
Okay. Did you communicate with the landlord and say, I do not have electricity in the property?
He knew that we didn't have any electricity because he sent someone to cut it off deliberately, cut the
And
actual.
how do you know this?
Because at this time, that person, I don't know who he is. He was doing work on the property, putting up banisters, doing some, cosmetic work to the outside of the property. And the electricity was on when I left. So when I returned, it's not on, and the person that was doing the work is gone. I even had someone who is an electrician to go and look at it, and they confirmed that the cord was cut deliberately.
Okay. Did you communicate to the landlord that you had no electricity at any point?
Yes, eventually, but not at the moment because it would be pointless because I know for a fact he did it deliberately. I even went down to Pico to ensure that it wasn't a shut off. And they told me that it wasn't a shut off on their end. I did the same thing to the water company, and they also told me that they could not provide me with, documentation stating that, because I'm not an account holder with them, but they let me know that they did have a shut off, but he paid it. So the cut off of the water was not on their end. So that is how I know that it was done by him deliberately.
Okay. Do any commissioners have any questions of the tenants?
I don't. No questions.
Ms. Polk, we'll return back to you. We're gonna ask some questions of your landlord.
Okay.
Mr. Page, can you hear me?
Yes.
You heard the testimony of Ms. Polk. Before we get into that, I would like to ask you whether or not you have a license to rent for this property.
No, I live at the property, so according to information that I had, I didn't need a license because that's my residence.
I'm sorry, you live at the property?
Yes. You pull up my for my ID and all my mail goes there. I lived on the first floor.
Okay. Do you share common spaces with the other tenants?
Yes.
So is this a single family residence, or can you describe the structure of the home?
Single family it's a single family residence. I just added bathrooms for each person to have private bathroom and small kitchenette. So like sink and everything else. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'll answer the question. Then I have a question of my own. I'm sorry.
Okay. And how many people total live in the home?
As of right now, just one.
No, at the
person
time,
stays there now.
I'm sorry, let
At
me
the time-
reframe this. At the time that the tenant was living at the property, how many people were residing at the home?
3, including myself.
Okay. And how many bedrooms is this home?
4.
This is a 4-bedroom property,
Yeah.
and there were 3 individuals residing at the property, including yourself? Or 4,
Yeah.
or 4 including yourself?
No, 3. It was 2 separate people and then myself.
Okay. And what was the monthly rent?
I have a question with the proceeding. According to the information for the rental agreement that Marshawn sent in, line 7 clearly states, by signing the agreement, the leasee understands that he or she waives any tenancy, squatter, or due process rights and that will be afforded by the municipal landlord tenant court, specifically the eviction process, which requires a notice to vacate hearing in landlord tenant court. There's also other information on there. That being the case, she sent it in, verified that she signed the paperwork. Do we have to continue with this hearing? She
We
already
do,
waived her
we,
rights.
we do have to continue with this hearing. In the city of Philadelphia, the type of language that you are citing would not
Mhm.
comport with the law that Philadelphia has regarding landlord-tenant relationship. Your tenant made an allegation that she was illegally locked out of the property. So therefore, we are here to
Okay.
address that issue.
Okay, understood. So, so based on that information that you just gave, you said she was said that she was illegally locked out of the residence at the time, and that's actually what we're referring to. I was unaware of that, the fact that that's what the issue was, but I have the verification from when her mother called me and texted me. The day that the door was locked was 3 weeks after she said she was moving. Well,
Okay,
she
so
said
we'll
that
get
she
into
moved.
that. I'm sorry, sir. We'll get into that, but before we get
Mm-hmm.
into the heart of your counter argument that you're making, I would like to proceed with some of the questions that I was asking the tenant. That
Copy.
I understand that you do not have a renter's license because you claim to live in the property. That's my understanding at this time.
Yeah.
Did you ever obtain a certificate of renter suitability for the property?
No.
Did you ever obtain a lead safe certificate for the property?
Yes.
Okay, and did you provide a copy of that lead safe certificate to any of the tenants who reside at the property? I'm sorry, specifically
No.
this tenant that we're here to discuss, Ms. Polk.
That's fine. No.
And regarding Ms. Polk explained that when she first moved in, she provided you with a security deposit in the amount of $800.
No. Incorrect. The security deposit is for her it was $100. It was she paid, I'm sorry, not $100. It was $120. Her rent was $190 a week. He provided coverage for first week, last week, and $120 non-refundable security deposit. It states that on the paperwork.
I'm sorry, let me just
So
understand that. So what was the amount of money that she paid you up front when she moved into the property?
it was $500.
Okay, and of that portion, what are you holding?
It would be the security deposit, which would have been $120.
Okay, I know, I understand that you do not have access to the rental agreement that we're showing on the screen at this present time. According to that rental agreement, there was an first month or first week rental payment of $190 that was given. Then there was another payment of $190 for the last week of the agreement, and then a non-refundable security move-in fee of $220. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes.
So then, based on that, you will be holding the last week, which is 190 plus you received $220 from the tenant when she first moved in.
Based on the information that given, yes, those numbers would sound correct.
Okay. And then when was the last time that she last paid rent to you?
Hold on, give me 1 second. That goes there. All right, so the October 7th, which was the week before that. Where's my calendar? So that was October 7th. Let's add it. It would be September 27th.
Okay.
And what was that amount?
That amount, I don't even have the information for that amount. I just have the dates from when the last payment was made. So if she was at 400, then she was cleared. So I would assume it was probably between $200 to $400 because she had a clear balance at the time.
So we're here today to discuss the issue of self-help eviction. You heard the testimony that the tenant made. What is your response?
I'm not clear on what happened. Yes, I had somebody there working. He said it was an issue with a leak downstairs. I had already moved probably a week prior to that. So he said it was a leak coming from the entry downstairs
I'm
in the
sorry, you said
basement.
you had already moved. What do you mean by that?
I had already I moved because of I had two people there who weren't paying me rent that I would bump into periodically. It was causing tension with me personally because I'm uncomfortable with somebody just walking in and out of a place and just thinking that they can stay somewhere for free and they don't have to speak to people and don't have to pay their rent. So I moved in with my sister at the time. So I left the property.
Oh, you're saying that you moved out of the property.
Exactly. I had moved at the time, and he was there working on the exterior, the hallway, and the room for the first floor, which I was supposed to be moving into. So
Okay, so
I wasn't
specifically,
there.
when did you leave the property?
I don't know exactly. For me to give you a date or a time frame would be me telling something that's not true. I'm not exactly sure.
Okay. So if we can then address the question that the tenant first stated. She stated that you turned off the utilities at the property sometime in October, late October.
Actually, she said it was sometime in November, but at the same time, I wasn't there. I didn't turn anything off. I wasn't there. I left the property and I was just waiting for them to leave. I got a call from her mother with some threats and her saying that something else was going to happen, which is at some point neither here nor there. I wasn't there, and I had no plans on going back until they actually left the property. So once a week, I would check to see if somebody was still there or not.
Okay.
So I'm not sure in regards to electricity or the water. I wasn't there. I just know he told me something about a leak in the basement.
Okay. Who was paying the electricity and the water for the property?
I was.
Okay. During this time, did you continue to make payments for the electricity and the water?
Yes.
So there was no shut off notice with the utility companies during this time?
I had a shut off notice from the water department for a back bill. I don't remember having a shut off notice from Pico. I can't recall. I was on a payment arrangement. I missed my payment with the water department, so then I had to go back and forth with them for a little while. Pico, I can't recall.
Okay, so then moving on to the next issue regarding the boarding up the property. What is your
Mhm.
explanation of that event?
The property was boarded up, but it was after I went. The separate tenant was on the second floor front. There was no furniture at all in her apartment. When I went to the third floor for Marshawn's apartment, since that's what we were referring to, there was just clothes scattered around and a bed with nothing on it. And prior to that, her mother and her brother had both told me she was moving to her sister's house. 3 weeks after I came
Did
there.
you ever communicate directly with with Ms. Park regarding her living at the property or leaving the property?
When I reached out to her, I didn't get a response. I reached out to her via text. That's usually how we correspond. I reached out to her via text. I didn't get a response. I waited 2 more weeks, and then that's when I boarded the front door up. It was just to secure my building.
Did you, at any point before boarding the property, did you obtain a court order giving you permission to no longer allow access to any of your tenants at the house?
She moved. There was no need. I'm sorry. You asked a closed-ended question. No.
Okay, so you never got a court order or anything from the city of Philadelphia or any judicial grant saying that
There
you
was
could take possession of the property again?
No, there was no furniture there. There was nobody there. So I boarded the property up 3 weeks
Did she
after
ever,
I told
did the tenants ever provide you with keys?
No.
Did you ever ask her for the keys?
When I reached out there, I got no response. So
Okay, and when you're stating that you corresponded with the tenant prior to boarding out the property, what exactly was the message that you sent her?
I asked her what we were going to do in regards to the rent payments.
Did you ask her whether or not she was still at the property?
After I asked her what we were going to do in regards to the rent, I didn't get a response. That was the end of the correspondence after that.
Okay. Do commissioners have any specific questions of the landlord?
Yeah, I'd just like to ask the landlord, are you related to any of the tenants that you rented to?
It depends on how you look at it. Marshawn is the cousin of my cousin, so distant relative. You would say then yes.
And the other tenant?
No.
Thank you.
Mr. Page, one other question from me. When you first
Uh-huh.
leased the property to Ms. Polk, were you living at the property?
Yes.
So
No,
when
I'm sorry.
when she first
when I-
moved in, were you living there?
when she first moved in, I shared the room with someone else on the first floor. Yes.
So you were living in the property with someone else?
Yes.
I don't have any other questions for the landlord. We're just going to give the tenant and then also the landlord an opportunity to respond. I would like first, the tenant will have an opportunity to summarize her argument that she wants the commission to consider, and then also the landlord. I just want to make clear with the landlord, however, did you live
Hmm.
during the time period of 2020 through the fall of 2024, did you live at the property?
Yes.
And you had no other residence?
I have more than one house, so I moved from one place to the next.
So was there a break between? So okay, my question for you is, was this your main residence during the time period
Yes.
of 2020 through the fall of 2024?
Yes.
Okay. And then, so my other question for you, you said that you own other properties in the city of Philadelphia?
I own another property on Eager Place.
And what is that exactly? Is
I'm
it a
sorry. I don't
residential
understand the
building?
question.
Is it a residential building?
Yes.
And do you have tenants in that building?
No.
So what kind of building is that?
It's a residential building.
And you don't have any other tenants in that building?
No. My father stays there.
Okay. Now we're gonna give Ms. Polk an opportunity to respond and make any final statements that she would like the commission to consider.
Hello? Can you
Yes,
hear
we
me?
can hear you.
Okay, so I
Well,
submitted,
I'm sorry, Ms. Polk, before we get into that, was it your understanding that Mr. Page was also living at the property when you were there?
Mr. Page never lived at the property. Mr. Page received mail at the property. It was his mailing address. The person that used to live on the first floor moved out. It was someone on the first floor when I first moved there. It was two people on the second floor, and I occupied the third. That's the first statement. Second statement is the money that he received from me. All of the 190 plus 190 plus 190 plus the 220, that was all together. And then I paid him rent. So that came out to close to $800, I believe. The exact number was like 760 or something like that. as far as me moving in. That's second. Thirdly, I submitted text messages from Mr. Page to me with dates attached and it shows exactly how much money that he stated that I owed him. Okay. First text message was Friday, October 25th, 10:23 a.m. Marshawn, 10/7/24, $400 plus $200, 10/11 stating that I owed $600. The next date was 10/18. 600 plus $200 equaled $800 plus $20 equaling $820. The next date, 10/20, which would be October 20th. And then the next date will be 10/25, which is October 25th, equaling out to $820 plus $200 equaling out to 10/20. And that was given in person to the intake at the commission's office. All of my documents have been scanned. I even have receipts from cash of
Okay,
history.
Ms. Bulk, let's just move on with, we only have a very limited amount of time, so we cannot go over repetitive arguments at this time.
That's fine. I also have the second the other docket number for the first initial police report. That's docket number 24/19-076052. Date of that docket is 11/14/24. Officer on duty was Fountery, I believe that's how you say his name, badge number 6454.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Page, is there any last information that you would like to have the commissions consider before we take a recess? Consider this matter?
No, I think she verified the amount of money that was actually owed, which was actually as of 11/8, it was $1,420 actually the amount owed. That was just at that date, and there was no money paid before or after that. So the other question you asked in regards to the boarding up of the property, I explained that. So no.
Okay, thank you. So what we're gonna be doing at this time is that you're gonna be receiving an alert on your devices, inviting you to a breakout room. Commission will be considering this matter, so once you see the prompt, please join. And we'll be back to retrieve you once we're ready.
Ms. Polk, you should have the option to click join. Do you see that?
Yes, I see it now.
Thank you. Oh, oh, no, not yet. I'm gonna put her in the waiting. Okay, back, turning the recording on, go ahead.
Okay, so we're back in session. All parties are back. So the commission is ready to issue a final order in this matter. The commission, as of based on the testimony and evidence that we have before us, are going to order that the landlord did not have a license to rent for this property. Therefore, the landlord was not entitled to collect any rent. The landlord did not have and did not provide the tenant with a certificate of rent or suitability. The landlord did not provide to the tenant a let safe certificate. We are finding, based on the evidence heard, that there was an illegal lockout, primarily because of the boarding up of the property without first obtaining any document allowing the landlord to take any self-help actions against the tenants. And then secondly, the testimony of no utilities at the property. Because of the illegal lockout activity, the Fair Housing Commission will be finding the landlord $2,000 for violation of the illegal lockout. We are also asking that the landlord return the last week payment that the tenant made when she first moved in, which is $190. That should be provided to the tenant. within 90 days of providing, I'm sorry, within 30 days of providing a forwarding address where that payment can be made. This is a final order and is only appealable to the Court of Common Pleas. Do parties understand the order?
Yes.
Okay, with that, then this hearing is adjourned and the parties are free to go. A copy of this will be provided to all the parties.
I'm going ahead and ending this hearing. Commissioners, please move over to the next one. Thank you.